Reserve. We're 7 minutes away from the tip. Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors won Game 1. They host James Harden and the Rockets in Game 2. And a lot of storylines in this one, including the fact that Scott Foster will be one of the officials calling this game. The last time Scott Foster called a Rocket game, James Harden fouled out and had this to say about Scott Foster.
I never really talk about officiating or anything like that, but just rude and arrogant. I mean, you aren't able to talk to him throughout the course of a game, and it's like, how do you build that relationship with officials? So, and it's not even that call. Like, it's just, who he is on that floor. It's pretty frustrating. For sure, it's personal. For sure. Like, I don't think he should be able to even, officiate our games anymore, honestly.
Foster has not been on a Rocket game since that game. He's at Game 2 in this one, working along with Ed Malloy and Eric Lewis. And that's just one of the storylines in a series. Kenny, I wish we were just talking about these two powerhouses, but now
it's ready to rumble.
These last 48 hours have been filled with talk about what's a foul, what's not a foul, and landing space and airspace and Scott Foster and everything else.
Yes. I've only seen this far of a relationship. I believe it was Clyde Drexler with the referee.
Jake O'Donnell.
With Jake O'Donnell. And found out that Jake O'Donnell didn't like Clyde Drexler. And the NBA suspended him because he actually admitted he didn't like Clyde Drexler. So he couldn't ref his games fairly. But I've never seen, I don't know the relationship and how it got to here. I don't know if it was that one game or multiple games. Obviously it had to be multiple games. But you have to put this out of your head. You're down 0-1. You better come to play, and you can't lock in on Scott Foster when you need to lock in on Klay Thompson and you need to lock in on Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. If you don't do that, you will go down 0-2 back to Houston.
Well, that sounds good in theory, but let me tell you something. Some officials have grudges. Some officials are so arrogant, they don't like you. I had an altercation with a guy named Mike Mathis. He hated me, and I hated him. But the difference was, it was something I said, it should have been over. But when you have a guy, these guys are fouled out 4 out of 6 games. So that could be something there. But to act like officials don't hold grudges, that's total BS. Some of these officials, I'm not saying, I don't know Scott.
But let me point out on Scott Foster. He's one of the best officials in the NBA. He's worked 11 straight NBA finals.
What does that mean?
No, I'm just saying
he graded to work the NBA Finals. They don't just put you there. You get graded throughout the whole year.
Well, he haven't had the Rockets in the finals.
I used to always complain about officials, and the great Phil Jackson told me, don't worry about it. So the point I'm trying to make is the ones that don't worry about it are the ones that will always persevere. They have grudges. They don't have to like you, but it ain't about them. It's about you going versus opponent, busting his ass. Like they always used to call me for that foul, and I used to tell them, I'm doing the same thing the next game.
But let's just say this.
You're going to have to foul me out the next game.
Officials had a bad game 1, plain and simple.
But Scott wasn't refereeing.
He was not that. But like I say, this is going to be a very interesting game.
I can't wait.
I know. So,
but I don't
but Kenny,
I got a grudge against you.
We got to go.
I still work with you.
We got to go to Oakland.
Right. They got to
lock in.
They got to play ball.
They got to lock in.
I don't care who calling the game.
Kevin Harlan, Reggie Miller, Allie LaForce. Milwaukee Bucks at home and trying to even up the series after dropping the opener by 22, and Chris Middleton has got 20 in the first half at 16 in the opener. Milwaukee on top by 4. Good one going there at Fiserv Forum. It's the American Express halftime report. Ernie Johnson along with Kenny, Shaq, and Charles here inside Atlanta's Studio J. The American Express teammates from the Milwaukee side. Chris Middleton with his 20. On 7 of 12 shooting, Giannis has 13 on 3 of 8 been to the line. For 10 of them, it hit 7. Talk about Chris Middleton, Chuckster.
Well,
the first half he's had.
I've told you, he's an all-star. He's played very well. But I've told you all along, the key to the Bucks is going to be Eric Bledsoe.
And we said before the series, you said he's going to at least have to hold his own.
He only had 6 points the other day.
Yeah.
Can't have that. But the thing he can do, he doesn't have to score a lot of points. He has to speed up the tempo of the game. Kenny always talks about what makes Steph terrific, Rondo in his day. They control the tempo of the game. The Milwaukee Bucks have arguably the worst half-court offense in basketball. you give the ball to this kid who's a hell of a player and say, score. Like, listen, 105, listen, I didn't go to class a lot in college, but 105 ain't going to work. In no basketball, Michael Jordan couldn't score 105, Kevin Durant can't score 105. But to me, they've got to get Giannis the ball in better situations. Run a pick and roll, and what you do in a pick and roll, you force them to either switch or double and gives him an advantage. But if you just give him the ball and have him going 105, that's not going to work.
Yeah, we've heard Marv Albert and Chris Webber talking about Boston building a wall against the Greek Freak.
Building a wall is always a bad idea, America. Sorry.
As great as Giannis is, at some point he's going to have to figure out when you're the focal point. Sometimes you got to do other stuff. Chuck's make great point right here. This is what he's been doing all year. He's going to push it and push it. But if you're going to play guard and you see that the defense is back, do something else. Don't try to spin, because when you're in the playoffs, and this may sound weird, you don't want to, be able to score. You don't want it to be that hard. Chuck knows what I'm talking about. You want it to be effortless. You want it to be flawless. But right now, the defense is waiting for him. I'm actually surprised that Bud has not recognized this and call like a cross screen for him or pick and roll like Chuck has said.
No question.
Right now, he's working too hard to get these buckets. But like I said, when you're the focal point, sometimes you got to do other things. You got a lot of shooters out there. Give it up. Come down and then get it later. You just can't dribble 1-on-5 and the defense is sitting there waiting for you. And then when you get it on the post, you got to go quick. If you get it on the post and turn around and face up, now the defense can set and see what you're doing. So you're going to have to.
And how good has Horford been? Al Horford is the consummate pro.
This game is simple.
Never done anything that flashy, but man, he's done a great job. Timely offense and the defensive job. He's creating some problems.
But he's not working hard to get his points.
Yeah, but let me tell you this, though. He should not be able to guard Giannis one-on-one.
Well, he isn't. They feeling that.
I know that, but I'm saying everybody's saying he's playing great defense. Yeah. It's more bad offense. And I hate when Giannis brings the ball up the court because they're already basically playing the zone. That's a mistake.
Yeah, you bring up Horford and you brought up Bledsoe. And, besides this being a three-point fest, the one thing that I noticed is what Kevin Love was for the Cleveland Cavaliers in their run and what Klay Thompson is. They're the third scorer. They're the scorer that wins that battle. They won that battle every time, and that made them the NBA champs. I see you, Ernie. I saw you leaning. I saw you in.
It wasn't me.
I see you. You're halfway out of your chair.
No, it wasn't me.
I see you.
I was paying attention. Hey, look, I already whipped you.
Right,
I don't need to again.
Nobody. Remember, you're on a one-game winning streak. That's not a streak.
Nobody's trying either. But this is early in the game. You have to win that battle when you're the third scorer, or whoever that might be. They have to win the battle. And early in the game, like you said, the last game he had 6 points. But the first play of the game, he is being aggressive, but basketball is about great decisions. Do you make a great decision while you're being aggressive? And no, he didn't. First play of the game, off to the races. I was worried about him. But then, freeze it here. It's like, am I going to not be aggressive now? Am I going to be nervous? No, Bledsoe says I'm not going to be that. I'm going to get to the rim. I'm going to make a better decision and get to the lane and finish it this time. But on the other end, we talked about Al Horford winning this battle. Freeze it here. He says, I'm going to stop. I see Lopez stop. Good decision. So I'm going to stay out for three. No one's coming. No rotation from Bledsoe because he doesn't want to leave Kyrie. Boom, knockdown. Next time he says, this is basically the handoff is the same as the pick and roll. He goes, sets it again, freeze it here. Now he looks and he says, oh, he's coming to help too much. Now I can dive. So the decisions that he's making is just great. And now whoever wins that battle is going to win this game. Third scorer, that's going to be the guy who wins it all.
Those are some white pants, man.
Well, those things are glowing out there. They actually excel in person.
Next to the wall.
They excel in person.
A coach's job is to put you in position to be successful. They're not doing that with Giannis. They're putting him in a position to try to have to go. Like, he's working so hard, and they've got to do.
It's never a good thing.
It's never a good thing.
59-55 is the Milwaukee lead. Isaiah Thomas celebrating number 58.
Happy birthday, Zeke.
Happy birthday, great job. Great job today on television for the other network, Zeke. You were fantastic.
You know what that's all about.
Yeah. Happy birthday to the great Isaiah Thomas, the greatest little man to ever play the game.
I agree with that.
I think he plays inside the game, plays within the rules of the game. He may bump guys off, going to the rim, but everybody does that, you know. So I wouldn't say that he's found a way to, you know, just kind of play the game within or cheat the rules. I wouldn't say that. I just think that, you know, he has a style to play, and it might not be what everybody might like to see, but it's been effective, and I don't think he's been cheating the game at all.
Kevin Durant on James Harden. Those guys center stage as the Rockets and Golden State play Game 2 later tonight on TNT.
It's going to be the most scrutinized game in the NBA in a long time from an official standpoint.
No doubt.
I can't wait to watch the game, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of pressure on the officials.
I don't think so, honestly. I think the officials
Just got to call it both ways.
They've been in NBA finals. They've had games where they've had bad games and been able to bounce back.
Well, you can't have two bad games.
But I don't think they're pressurized to think that these NBA
Well,
you
first of
will
all,
not be up to the task.
Well,
Yeah, well,
no,
they bad.
It has nothing to do with being up to the task.
Yeah.
You have to factor in the animosity between Scott Foster and Chris Paul and James Harden. You have to factor that in. Those guys killed him and got fined this season, and he said, we do not like him and he hate us.
The only thing we want as players is consistency. I don't care who's calling the game. If I'm under his legs and you call a foul, when he's under my legs, call the same foul.
Yeah, but they didn't
That's
do
all
it,
we
Shaq.
want.
There are going to be a lot of eyes on that play the first time it happens
all we
in
want.
this game later tonight on TNT.
Pressure self-induced.